Pleasant good morning to everybody. I am very pleased to be back at my alma mater here. I also attended the St. John's Catholic Primary School. Miss Mills. Of course, the ICM sisters and the current boards of these two schools and the teachers have, done an excellent job in making sure that these institutions have survived so long. So at the very onset, I want to say that teachers past and present have played a very powerful role in shaping the minds of people. And I certainly attribute my own personal advancement in life to my education at the St. John's Catholic School and later on at the St. Joseph's Academy. So I remember walking these grounds and I have very fond memories. Of course, I remember Miss Harris, who taught me in grade 3, and I still remember which room it was in. So in those days, education was about talk and chalk. I remember as well, in those days there was no color television, and I remember people would have these little plastic sheets. They would cover the black and white television, and that's how you were able to watch color television. I kid you not. And so we fast forward to 2011, where we really have an era of technology. You heard from David St. Charles of Lyme about broadband internet, and I am very certain some of the children here, some of the primary school students have iPads. I know that. I know they have iPhones and iPods. So today is a significant day really in the history of these two schools, and I just want to spend a few minutes saying that this has come about because we have a very successful partnership with Lyme, what I call the public-private people's partnership, where Lyme is the private entity. Lyme is the private entity. Government is the public entity, as it were. And the people's component today is represented and manifested by the teachers. And I don't want anybody to leave here with the impression that this was just a simple thing. We sat very extensively with Lyme and negotiated what I thought was a package where at the end of the day, everybody is a winner. And I want to state without reservation, and I have said this to the Antigua Lyme country manager, David St. Charles, that this is one of the most powerful projects that I have been associated with, because its impact is so revolutionary, and its impact will be felt certainly in the months to come. The previous speakers, including Mr. Imhoff and Ms. Commodore, have obviously spoken about what access to technology can do for teachers. And I want to remind everybody that access to the internet and access to computers in general have a very strong transformative potential. That's no longer in dispute. And this tool, and I hear the words of Miss O'Keefe, who said the opening prayer, it made reference to a tool, and I think this is exactly what it is. This is a tool that has great empowerment potential that will open up horizons far beyond anybody's wildest expectations. Permit me then, as I sat there, I remember certainly in grade 4, we had what was called a reading laboratory, and that laboratory was a box of cards, and the box would come to the classroom, and you would go and you would select a card and you would read. It looked like, a composition, and there were several questions that you had to answer, and this was graded by the teachers and so on. that was extremely powerful then and extremely powerful now. But the harsh reality is that library is now virtual. It's available to everybody around the world in real time. And I say that to say that the teachers need to recognize that it is a transformative tool, and as a government we have obviously invested very heavily in your own personal and professional development in a manner that you will decide how far you want to go. Because access to technology is so fundamentally overwhelming. You have to use it to become competitive. And it is when you recognize that and you transfer your knowledge and your skill sets to your students and you help to shape their life, what you are in effect doing is producing competitive citizens, producing students, producing citizens that can compete internationally. When you do that, you're not just preparing them for the real world of work and life in Antigua, you're also doing it, of course, for them to go abroad, because the world is really a global village. And I can't overemphasize that. So the government, in collaboration with Lime, had seen it fit that we will provide a high-speed laptop and broadband connectivity to every single teacher in government and private primary schools and secondary schools. And by the way, Miss Boston also taught me. Okay, good morning, Miss Boston. So, we didn't arrive at this juncture by happenstance. This is part of a carefully thought out plan that the Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda accepted in 2007, where it is envisioned that every home and every business will have a computer and access to broadband internet by the end of 2012. We are making very substantial progress in that regard. So, Technology for Education 2020 is just what it says. We are looking at 2020 vision. How can we help to move the education system forward? Because we are dealing with a brand new paradigm. I conclude my very brief remarks by saying that this program is part of the Connect Antigua and Barbuda initiative, which has many other components. For instance, we have been able to provide laptops to the administrators of early childhood education centers, and we have developed specialized software for these centers. So in addition to the laptop, which was also provided by Lime, specialized software was developed by the Ministry of Information, and I want to recognize one of the hard-working team members in the ministry, Ms. Sandra Tucker, who is at the back, who developed the software. And I say that in the context, and I want the teachers who are listening to me to listen very closely. It's no longer just about us consuming what is on the internet. We must become creators as well and contribute to content on the internet, so that our voice, our opinion, our culture, our history, our philosophy is also on the internet, so that other countries, other students, other peoples, other backgrounds can learn about us as well. So this is an area that has not been lost on us as government, and in 2012 we will be placing an extremely high priority on this. and you will hear more about that. So I want to say to the teachers, you too can contribute to content. You too can upload to YouTube. You too can go on Facebook. You too can partner with teachers in New Jersey and Kazakhstan and New Zealand and Barbados and Peru, because you have the tool, you have the connectivity, and this is why the connectivity was so important. We had long recognized that access to technology had two large barriers, and Mr. Charles and I had spoken about this repeatedly in the last few years. We recognized the cost of a laptop was a barrier, and in the ensuing discussions we also became aware that access to the internet itself was a barrier. And so with that as a background, we were able to partner, provide teachers with this important tool. It has a camera, it's a beautiful piece of equipment, beautiful. And we're giving the connectivity, 1 meg to the teachers' homes. And as Mr. Charles said, it's nomadic. You can take the little antenna device and plug it in your office, take it by your aunt, plug it there. So you weren't necessarily restricted to internet access in your home. And this is in keeping with government's philosophy of having the internet very, and I'm using new terms here, very ubiquitous, making it available throughout the country. So please care the equipment. It is really a substantial investment that we have made as government in partnership with Lime. And I want to commend the team at Lime and Kevin Joseph and Ms. Nelson and everybody else at the Ministry of Information who have worked towards making these types of projects a reality. We will roll out 1,600 laptops in total before the end of this year. We're close to 600. We have another 1,000 to go. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.